Welcome to Crime with My Coffee. This podcast contains graphic descriptions and adult content. Mature audiences only, please.
Hi, y'all, and welcome to Crime with My Coffee. I'm your fabulous hostess with the mostest, June.
And I'm Suzanne. We're going to tell you some stories you've heard.
Some you haven't.
And some you'll wish you hadn't.
All with a Texas twang.
Well, welcome back, guys. Welcome back. Glad you could join us.
Absolutely. And if you're here for the first time, make sure you listen to this episode. Then go back and pick one from somewhere else that we have out, and then just start listening from there and listen to all of them. That's it.
Or, if you hate us, tell your enemy and maybe they'll like us.
Oh, maybe. Yeah. Or if you like us, tell two friends, and they'll tell two friends, and they'll tell two friends. You remember that commercial? It used to be a commercial.
No, I don't.
Oh, okay. You're not as old as me. So,
well,
okay.
Duh.
Okay.
That'd be really weird if I was.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, it would.
All right. Well, what's in your mug this week?
This morning, I made a pot of White Russian coffee, and it is so good. It's so good. It's so good. It's very creamy tasting. It's got a nice sweetness about it. It's not as sweet as the Crusaders cup that I had last week, but but it is sweet. I did put French vanilla creamer in it. It's good coffee. It is good coffee. It's good. It's sweet. It's very smooth. I like that about my coffee.
Nice.
So anyway, but what do you have in your mug?
I'm on my second pot of coffee for the day. We're not recording at our normal time, really. And so I am drinking Folgers because I was like, dude, just give me the coffee. I need the caffeine, just all the caffeine. Give me all the caffeine. So I brewed an extra strong pot of Folgers coffee, and I'm drinking that with tons of sugar and tons of creamer in it because I made it so strong. It's like I got it from the truck stop and I'm almost chewing it.
Wow. And the funny thing is, the way our recording schedule has turned out here lately, we really don't have any kind of set schedule anyway. It's like all willy-nilly everywhere.
One of us will text the other, hey, you got a minute to record?
It's crazy. Yeah.
It's 4:00 in the morning on Thursday. Sure, why not?
I know. Yeah. I got an hour before I go to work. Let's do it. Yeah, it's crazy. Absolutely crazy. So.
Yeah. Well, I have a case for us today.
Okay, sweet. I'm about it.
We're going to go to Kansas City, Missouri.
Ooh, okay.
Kansas City, Missouri is the most populous city in Missouri, and it is the largest by area, and it straddles the Missouri and Kansas state line.
Nice.
Different companies have their headquarters based there in Kansas City, such as Hallmark Cards, H&R Block,
yep,
and the Hostess brands. My husband is a fan of the Ho-Hos.
I love Hostess. If I could marry Hostess or Little Debbie, I would be so good.
Oh man, me and Little Debbie, we are tight.
Oh, okay. So I have to tell you this just because I just found this out very, very recently. A friend of my husband's was talking about Little Debbie now has ice cream out that can be found at Walmart, and it is all the Little Debbie treats ice cream.
I'm going to look for that, but probably not at my Walmart because my Walmart sucks, but I'm going to look. I'll let you know. I'll report back.
Okay. Now, I have looked every time I've gone to Walmart since I've heard this, and I have seen Swiss Miss and Zebra Cake and all Star Crunch, all this ice cream Little Debbie makes, right?
I am here for the Star Crunch, yo.
I'm looking for one specifically, and it's the oatmeal cream pie.
That's what I was going to say.
And that's the only one that I haven't found yet. So I have not bought any of them yet. But he says that they are all wonderful.
Okay, well, if I find some at my Walmart, I'll buy it and I'll put it in my freezer and you'll have to come up for a weekend.
Okay. But yeah, that's the only one I want to try that one before I try any of the others. Now, I love a good zebra cake and Swiss cake and all the Nutter butters or whatever
like
they
I said,
are.
me and Little Debbie, we're tight.
Now, Little Debbie is going to make everything else a little bit tighter now as far as pants go because, yeah, ice cream, I am about it.
It was also in Kansas City that Walt Disney made his first animation in his garage and started the animation company Laugh-O-Gram Studio, where Mickey Mouse was born.
Oh, that's awesome.
He did, however, end up moving it to Hollywood and making it Walt Disney Company after Laugh-O-Gram Studios did go bankrupt.
Wow. That's awesome, though.
A couple of people from Kansas City, Missouri. Ed Asner, he's an actor.
Yeah.
Ernest Hemingway, an author.
Sweet.
This one I did just for you. Bill Kinney. He played for the Kansas City Chiefs as a quarterback for 8 years. I want to say he also did 1 year for the Dolphins.
I think so.
Or something like that back in the 80s. And then he turned state senator for 8 years.
Wow.
And
That's
also
awesome.
Tech Nine, the rapper.
Oh, there you go.
Well, it was the summer of 1989 when our case takes place.
Okay.
So we're going to go a little back. Not super far back, but a little back.
All right. I was alive then.
I was too. So was one of my sisters.
Yes. Yes.
Fawn Cox was a 16-year-old kid. She, what?
Fawn? I love
Fawn,
that.
like a little baby deer.
Fawn. I love it.
I know. Why couldn't you name me that?
I know. Give me a cute name like Fawn or Salem. One of the two, right?
Fawn worked as a cashier at Worlds of Fun, which I did a little bit of Googling on this. And it's an amusement park that, to me, according to their website and the pictures and stuff, looks a lot like Six Flags Over Texas.
Nice. Very nice.
She turned 16 in March of 1989. She was the oldest of 3 girls. Her little sisters were 12 and 15. I feel you with the oldest kid syndrome, man. It sucks. She was getting ready to start her junior year of high school that fall in just a couple of months. She was super excited about her class ring. She was saving her money to buy her own class ring because she was going to have her class ring, you guys.
Oh, I got mine for Christmas, which I thought was, I can't remember if it's Christmas or my birthday, but, and they're very close together. So, but I remember, and I was so excited. I still, of course I still have it. But anyway.
Well, it was mid to late July of 1989 when she got her learner's permit to start working towards her driver's license.
Sweet.
On July 26th, 1989, she had a closing shift at Worlds of Fun. She got off work at about 11 o'clock that night. She went home and she went straight upstairs to go to bed and go to sleep because she had another shift the very next day. There was no rest for this girl. She had plans for her money.
Man, she has got it figured out.
Well, it was hot. It's July,
Ugh.
Even though it's in Missouri and it's not as hot as it is here, it's still hot.
Right. It's what, 85, 90, maybe. No, I don't even know.
I don't know. I probably should have looked that up.
You know what? You keep talking. I'll check the weather out
right.
in Kansas City.
July, Kansas City weather.
Okay.
So it's hot, but she went ahead and went upstairs to the upstairs bedroom to go to sleep anyway, because she could leave the window open for airflow. And she wasn't about all that downstairs noise where everybody else was sleeping because, they're teenage, one of her sisters is a teenager. One of them is almost a teenager. They're not ready for bed yet. It's summertime. They ain't got time for sleeping, but she does because she's got to go to work. So she goes upstairs and goes to sleep. And it was downstairs where they had the air conditioning because they had the window units in the air conditioners. They don't really have central heat and air like we do here at that far north.
Right.
A lot of places don't have the central air. Sorry, they have the heat, they don't have the air.
Right.
So about 9:30 or so the next morning, Fawn's alarm clock started blaring. After a few minutes of her not hitting snooze or turning it off or anything like that, her mom and one of her sisters goes upstairs to wake her up because they're like, oh, she's just sleeping so hard because she's 16. She's a teenager.
Exactly.
She's going to sleep and she ain't going to hear nothing. She's sleeping.
Right. Okay. Now, I did look up the weather, and usually on July 1st of the year, it's roughly the high is 88. The lows are, low to mid 70s throughout the month of July. But about the mid July mark, it gets to about 90 degrees, and that's what it is.
Yeah, so that's a little warm, you guys.
Yeah. It's probably a lot warm for them.
But in the nighttime temperatures,
70.
For me, that's a little uncomfortable, but I also have a dog and a cat cooking me every night.
Oh, yeah, me too.
So, 70 is a little uncomfortable for me, but not too bad.
Right.
And if I'm sleeping alone, I should be good.
I'd be fine. Yeah.
So her mom and her little sister go upstairs to wake her up and say, hey, your alarm clock's going off. We're tired of hearing it. Shut it up. Get up. You got things to do.
Right.
And they go in her room, but she's not sleeping. She's dead.
What?
Yeah. So they call the cops, and the cops come out.
Now, how do they know she's dead?
Well, we'll get to that in just a second. Hold on.
Okay.
You are 10 seconds ahead of me, lady.
Okay, I'll wait.
So they call the cops. The cops come out. They start their investigation. Her autopsy would eventually show, though the police didn't release this information for a while, that she had been beaten and raped and strangled to death with her sister's nightgown.
Oh, no.
This is how they knew she was dead.
Okay. Now, did her parents see her when she came in and went straight upstairs? Did they see and make sure she wasn't beat up then?
So I want to say that her mom and sisters picked her up from work and brought her home. Because remember, she only has her permit. She doesn't have her license yet.
Right. Okay. So they would have seen her face.
Yes.
Okay. Because that had me a little concerned.
So the police, of course, start questioning the family. They're like, how in the world did you not hear anything?
Exactly. Yeah.
And they said, we've got the window units going down here and they're loud. This is the late 80s. Those window units are loud as crap.
Yes. You can't hear anything going on.
No, like you got your TV blaring just to hear the commercials.
Yeah.
Because you can't hear anything over the window units.
Yep. Okay. I get it. I understand that. That's true.
They said that they did notice, that their dog was a little on edge the night before, though, kind of barking, wouldn't really settle down or anything, but they just chalked that up to the fact that their dog was pregnant and she was just on edge because she's all pregnant and knocked up now.
Right.
So they went on, with their night. They had no idea what was going on upstairs. Well, originally, the cops were thinking that this was probably a robbery gone wrong because they did notice that some things were missing. Now, they never did say, as far as I could find, they never did say what was missing or if it was ever recovered.
Mm-hmm.
And they also said, there's no signs of forced entry, to this house. So they figured that whoever had killed Fawn had climbed in through the open window in her bedroom and went back out the same way after they were done.
Oh my God. Wow.
Now, at some point, someone came forward and said that it was this group of kids, members of the 9th Street Dog Gang, which was basically just a group of who-bangies in the neighborhood that were out causing trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually 3 teenagers that this witness would name would be arrested and charged with the murder of Fawn. The witness, though, would later recant their statement. And these 3 teens would eventually be released and the charges dropped, because even though the DNA back then isn't what it is today, they could still do a little bit with DNA. But about the most they could do was compare blood types.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they did this and it came back inconclusive. It couldn't rule these guys in, but it couldn't rule them out either. So it's inconclusive. So they don't have anything against these kids. So they have to let them go and they have to drop the charges because double jeopardy. And if these are the guys that did it, they want the evidence so that they can put them away and not find the evidence in 6 months, after they've already been acquitted and they can't do anything about it now.
Right.
So the family was getting frustrated, of course, because they didn't have the answers as to who had killed Fawn. The community is getting a little irritated because the case wasn't solved. And this went on for a long time, like a long time.
Wow.
I will tell you, we do have a conclusion. This is not unsolved.
Oh, good.
But it would take them 31 years to get the answers that this family wanted so badly.
Wow, that's a long time. That's a very long time.
A very long time. So time's going on. DNA testing is making these huge leaps and bounds, and they can do way more with the DNA now. At this point in the early 2000s, they could do way more with DNA than they could in the late 80s.
Right.
So they take this DNA sample that they had gathered from the crime scene in the early 2000s, they take this DNA sample that they had gathered from the crime scene in 89, and they uploaded it into CODIS. No hits.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no hits. So even more years go by, and the investigators, in I want to say 2018, they went back to their original 3 suspects and they asked each of them for a DNA sample to compare to what they had at the crime scene. They all said, okay, yeah, here you go. They didn't match it either.
Oh, no.
So at this point, the family starts pushing for the genealogical testing to be done, where they take this DNA and they build a family tree from it, like how they caught the Golden State Killer and how they caught William Talbot II, who, by the way, we covered back in episode 8, if you want to go listen to that one.
Yes.
But the police kept saying that they didn't have the funds or the manpower to do this. And the family's getting frustrated because they're like, look, we raised the money that would cover whatever testing is involved in this. And I want to say I read it was like, at that time, it was going to cost like $5,000 or whatever to do this genealogical testing.
Right.
And the police department said, look, we can't take your money for investigation purposes, though, which I can kind of see that,
Right.
But at the same time, I can understand the frustration the family is feeling. So the family's buying billboards around the area, putting Fawn's picture up there saying, hey, look, we're offering this reward. If you have any information, call it in. We just want to know what happened to Fawn.
Right.
Nothing was panning out, though.
Aw.
And then in the summer of 2020, the federal government entered the chat.
Uh-oh.
They brought with them federal resources, and they wanted to use these resources to help solve violent crimes, including the rape and murder of Fawn Cox.
Well, good.
So they they fund this testing that the police department said that they didn't have the money to fund. They fund this testing, and boom, they have a suspect.
Oh.
Through their magical DNA family tree building ways of genetic genealogy, they had found their suspect, Donald Cox Jr., Fawn's cousin.
Oh, okay. Wow. Oh, yeah, that's right. Because she had 2 sisters.
Right.
She didn't have a brother.
Right.
Why would he do that?
He was the one that had left the DNA at the crime scene.
Oh, my God.
Well, they can't ask Cox why he did it, because he died back in 2006.
Oh, no.
He died from a drug overdose. But so they couldn't exactly ask him for his DNA sample, to compare it to this.
Right.
So, but they're pretty sure through their genealogical tracing stuff that this is who their guy is. This is who they're looking for. So since they can't, just ask him for a DNA sample, after they found out that he's dead, they did find out that when he had originally died, it was through suspicious circumstances. And so the medical examiner actually had his DNA on file because, before foul play was ruled out and it was just ruled an accidental drug overdose, they had to have, certain things for testing or whatever.
Right.
So the medical examiner still had this DNA in their storage. So they take this DNA that they know belonged to Donald Cox Jr. and they run it, and it is a match for the DNA that was found in Fawn's bedroom.
Now Fawn was 16. How old was he at this time?
I think he was like 21 or so, early 20s.
Okay.
I think is what I read. I think he was in his early 20s.
Okay.
In 1989. While the family wouldn't be able to see her killer be brought to justice, they at least knew who had done this to Fawn.
And knew since he had passed away, he's not going to be causing a scene with anybody else.
Right. And they also figured that that's probably how he was able to get in and out of the house. He knew that everybody would be sleeping downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he was breaking in to steal things and came across Fawn sleeping upstairs unexpectedly, and all of this took place. Maybe she was the target to begin with. Maybe one of her sisters was the target to begin with.
Maybe she woke up and said, "What the are you doing in my room? And why are you taking our stuff?" And
yeah, I mean, we'll never really know. But we do know that he was her killer. He did come in through the bedroom window and leave through the bedroom window. It was at the back. I want to say it was at the back of the house. And kind of like growing up, I had the upstairs bedroom, and there's like a roof outside of the windows upstairs. There was a roof outside her window as well.
Okay.
So it's not like he's having to, Spider-Man it up, to the second story.
Right.
So, and in through the window. But yeah, that's it. They now knew how this killer knew how to get in and out of the house, and that it wasn't just a stranger that got lucky that all the pieces fell into place for them to have gotten away with this murder.
Right. Wow. It's amazing that it took that long to solve, though. Unfortunately.
DNA, you couldn't do then what you could now. And if he never went to prison for anything, they're not going to take his DNA and put it in CODIS.
Yeah. Exactly. It's not going to be on file at all. That's wow.
So that's my case.
Wow. That's crazy to think that family can be that backstabbing. You know what I mean? So I feel, and this is only my opinion, that he actually did come in to steal stuff, knowing that he thought probably everybody was going to be downstairs and didn't realize she was going to be upstairs. And Fawn confronted him, and him being probably bigger and older, it just, you can't tell. I can't be tattled on, And
that still doesn't explain the rape to me. That's
well,
just...
no, that's yeah, that's just gross. That's just absolutely disgusting. But yeah, I have a feeling she just caught him and confronted him, and he did not like it. And I bet maybe what he was thinking, because he's 20 and dumb still, because he's a guy or a boy, whatever.
And 20.
He thought, yeah, exactly. He thought, probably not knowing anything about DNA or anything like that. He thought if he did this, it definitely would not point towards him, because he is family. You know what I mean? He thought maybe that would throw them off somehow because and maybe that's why he raped her. You see what I'm saying?
Maybe. I don't know. But,
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we have answers for that.
And I'm glad. I also want to point out that, of course, this took 31 years. So at that point, let's just say her parents were 20 when they had her. She was the oldest. So they're 36 when she was killed. So they're 66, 67, 68.
Right.
Are
Maybe
they even
70?
alive? Right? Do they know? I can answer that question for you. Yes, her parents were both still alive when they were able to conclusively solve her case.
Oh, that's got to be such a relief for them. Such a relief, because I cannot imagine having to go 30 years in not knowing anything, not having any kind of answers, not having any kind of promise of somebody being caught or punished or anything. Wow.
But yes, both of her parents were still alive when they found out who did this, and her family was notified the night before or the day before they announced to the public that they did know who had killed Fawn.
Wow. I'm glad that they found out. I'm glad that they were still here to get that news. Wow.
Me too. A lot of times when a case goes that long without being solved, a lot of times the parents aren't here for that.
Right. Wow. That's so crazy. So crazy. Well, thank you very much for sharing that, because I can't say that I've ever heard of this case, but I am naming my next dog or cat Fawn because I love that name.
Yeah, I'm kind of mad you didn't name me Fawn. I'm going to go tell my husband I'm changing my name.
Okay. I think you should, because that's an awesome name. I love that name. So
I do too, but I don't know that my husband will let me actually change my name.
Yeah, he might not. Yeah, he might not.
He might not. Oh, I can't change my name.
Oh, okay.
Because then my initials wouldn't be 88 when I initial things. And I like my initials being 88. It's really easy for me.
Okay. All right. Well, just leave it like it is then.
Okay. Gatchy's mom needs to change her name to Fawn. She doesn't go by her first name anyway. So
that's true. There you go.
We can just change her name to Fawn.
We've just changed your sister's name altogether. That's awesome. Awesome. Okay.
I'll let her know tomorrow when she calls me.
Okay. I was going to say, I guess we'll let her know tomorrow when we see her.
Yeah.
So, wow.
Oh, yeah.
That's
You
awesome.
will probably see her tomorrow, huh?
Yeah.
So she probably won't call me. She'll probably call me the next day.
Yeah. So I'll let her know we're changing her name.
All right. Cool.
So, all right. Well, I guess until next time, guys, that's it for us, and we'll catch you on the flip side.
Yeah. And from me, Fawn's oldest sister. Okay. Bye.
Bye.